Would you like to stay for the class? Yeah. It's like it's an empty board.
I can't corrupt my mind right now.
Whoa, buddy. Can you close the door? Thank you so much. All right, clap your hands and clap your hands if you can hear my voice. Clap your hands once if you can understand what I'm saying. Yeah, okay, welcome back. I hope you had a great professional skills morning. That was a lot of fun. Cover letters, resumes. They can sometimes feel like a drag, but like if you don't have one, it's gonna be hard to get a job. Just trust me. It's like, oh, like please hire me. I know skills. What skills do you know? Oh, I know them. You have to have something to show, right? Okay, so today it's like somewhat like kind of reviewy. We're gonna design or like at least the first half, 70% of a to-do app. Do we know what a to-do app is? You know?
Like a list to do things that you have.
Oh, yeah. So Janelle says it's like a list of things to do. Perfect. Maybe you were reading from Merriam-Webster. I don't know. That was a good answer. That was a little too good. So when we're designing it, we have to start to think like, what do we want it to look like, and what kind of components will that be, right? So let's just start off. We can like work together. We'll draw like this. This is a computer screen, right? What? Yeah, this is the app, right? So, and the app is a component, and the app, we have that like encompassing everything, right? So that's our on-site component. What else? What else might we need for our to-do app? Yeah, Johnny?
You can add like an input box.
Add an input box? Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna have an input box. It says like input. You know what? I have this like random name generator I'm gonna bring back. And we can like really start doing it. Oh, how do I get it not in the way? That's not in the way. Okay. We are ready? Who's gonna help us with the next one? How do I? No, Janelle hasn't been picked. Unless you want to answer? Oh, yeah, she just answered. Yeah, you're off the hook. Okay, Andrew, what else might we want in it to do it? What's going to go on this page? Okay, so like having to-dos. One to-do, many to-dos, what are you thinking? Just like we're going to have like a spine mill, right? And another one probably, right? Okay. What did you say, job? No, yeah, maybe it's an unordered list. Okay, let's keep writing. What else could be in this app? Oh, we got hands. We'll take some hands first. Nikki.
You said input. That's where you're inputting your list, right?
Yeah. Well,
so I was thinking like a button that will allow you to add lines.
to submit.
You know, like the Google reminders are, and you can do checklists.
I'm sure I know what we're talking about quite yet.
It's okay.
No, I'd love to know.
No, it's just a different way to do with it.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay, Alex? A shower? Okay, I did it video like 2 weeks ago. I apologize. Jenya.
With the checkboxes,
check them next to your item.
Yeah, so eventually, yeah, we're gonna need something for like, is it done, right?
Yeah.
We'll make like these should be clickable of some sort. Maybe. Right, we have like this, and we'll say like
And we need to decide whether they disappear or they get crossed out.
clickable, yeah, crossed out, or disappear. That's a good question. I don't know. What's the thing? Yeah, Winter.
Can we like divide it into like sections, like personal to do, work to do?
And that's a great idea. I'm gonna put that over here for like ideas to like build on. Yeah, like separation of dues. Right.
Delete them.
Delete them. Yeah, so that's kind of like this Genius clickable cross down. First delete, like which one we want to do. Yeah, maybe we want to be able to edit. That's potential. Right, there's a lot of things that. So for today, I just want us to build like the most basic possible to-do list. So we also need like a button here to submit, right? So I'll add that. We're not quite guessing it. Okay, so if we had this app, like this is like you could definitely go to a page and see something like this, right? You could see a giant web browser, and then you have like pretty big input box with the word search, like to actually submit or enter. That sounds like something that we might be familiar with, and then we have like these individual to-dos that show up, and they say what they are, and maybe they have either some way of clicking them or a button beside them. Yeah.
You also need a date for when you.
When they're due.
No, like to do for when. Just like a general to do.
It's a day or.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, so this is great. I really like this. Like we're really like thinking like this whole thing. So I'm gonna add this over here. So like, just like ways to expand. To begin, I'm gonna say let's just keep this as super simple as possible because we haven't built like too many things yet. Totally. So pretending that this is complete for now, like just as a minimal viable product, an MVP. Yeah, Jen.
We need to be able to recognize if we've actually done the thing on the list. So like checkbox. Cross
Yeah.
off. Okay.
Exactly. So that's this clickable cross down versus delete. Exactly. So we have to, so how can we do that? Well, maybe we want to design them differently. Maybe they turn red, right? Maybe we want them to toggle back and forth, right? I mean, there's all these like things we could do. But what I really want to emphasize is like when we see a website like this, what are the components that we see? How can we break this down and do individual components? So we've seen sites like this, or like similar at least. What are the components? Let's grab a random person. Oh. Okay, Chris, is there a component here that you might think we could use?
I guess that input would be some component.
What kind of component might? Like just input by itself or more?
What do you mean?
Well, is the input component the same as an input tag, or is it?
No, I mean, I guess like all the logic behind creating a task and then the button, the submit button.
Awesome. Yeah. So that whole thing is typically called what?
Functional.
A form. Close. Both are F, right? So this is like exactly what he's saying, though, right? We have like this input and this button. Like this could be in a form component, right? So I'm going to get a different color. Is there any interesting colors? No, just black, I guess. Right? And so we can say like, we can start labeling like this would be the form component. So this is going to keep track of our form. What else? What's another component we might see? Get track?
The list item component, so we could reuse that component over again.
The list item. Okay. So saying this is a list item. Yeah. So I'm gonna say or to do list item. Okay, that's a component. People see that black? Not that clear, right? Do we have any other brighter colors?
There was a red.
Oh, okay.
That's our mascot, man.
That's not my mask. Okay. Sorry if I hate with the balloon. Oh, red's cool too. We got this.
Yeah.
Nice, perfect throw. Yeah, let's give it up for Nikki, ladies and gentlemen. All right, yeah. For those of you at home, we just saw an incredible throw. Okay. What's another? Do we see any more components? I want to get some more people. All right, I'm gonna randomly call on someone. Oh, he's not here. Saved by the sick. Oh, Janelle. The index.js so the index.js is a file. We'll definitely need that as a file, so we can write a file system here. We're going to get this for free though with our Create React app. Okay, JR.
Kind of on the side for that.
Add money?
Yeah, like you can put the ad on the side.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to add this to our like more advanced like separation of to-dos, date. I'll say like commercialism / marketing. Okay. So, all right. So we're doing all right? We've got a couple components. We've got app, which we might have already forgotten about. Right? We've still got the app component. So we've got this one. We've got our form component. We've got a to-do list item. What's a to-do list item seem like it's part of it? Alex?
To-do list.
Yeah, right. We have this to-do list. This is also could be a component. Sorry?
Like the feed and the blog.
Exactly. Yeah.
Feed in the blog.
So now we also have a to-do list.
So a component within a component. So
They're all components within components. Because app is the top component. Form and to-do list look like they're probably siblings. To-do list item is a child of list. I mean, we could even make the button a component. Like this could technically be a component. We can like keep going deeper and deeper. But we did try to keep this app relatively like not too crazy. So we had some great ideas about that. I think once we get this all down, tomorrow's down, we should start building further where you can take it on your own and keep going. Pretty awesome. What? We put that on your to-do list? That is good. Okay. How do we feel about the construction of those? All right, so let's pretend. Let's do another one. All right, so I'm going to erase this. Keep this in your memory because we are going to build this. Okay. Oh my God, this looks so much erasing. Oh, God. Okay, good enough. All right. How about if I went to a website like Facebook? Now that we know some stuff about components, what do you think? How can we break this up into components? Right, we made this in HTML. Some of us might have had like a really hard time if we didn't really plan our sections as well as we would have liked. Yeah, Eric, you want to start us off? Sign up? Which part? What are we thinking?
First name, last name, mobile number, password.
So like,
all that.
so like this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is this? Form?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So this is also like this is our form. What else?
Sign up for the other is login form.
Where's that one?
Where's that on?
Oh, at the top? Yeah, so here's a login form. Right, this is another component. What else is
The blue bar on the top, is that better?
Oh, that's a nav bar. Yeah, great. So right, that's a nav bar component.
Navigation bar.
Allows you to navigate around the website. Yeah. What else?
That connect with friends all the way down to find more icons.
These?
Yeah, all that.
Some kind of display component. Sure. Slack info. Okay. What else? Footer? Where's that? All right, excellent. All right, this is a component. This is the footer. What else do we see here? Next. Oh yeah, right. Okay, we have our whole thing. That's great. Right, it's gonna hold all of these. That's our name, right, or app. Cool. Right.
Within the display component, to items and the icon.
Cool. Okay, so he's saying this could be a component. Each one of these. Meaning these list items that take in, I guess, some sort of picture. These, right? Because these are all done. These are all styled identically. So these could be sure, we'll say these list items. Yeah.
Create a page under the sign up.
Yeah, I guess it could potentially be a component. Sure. Or we could put that part of our. I'd probably put that part of our at the bottom of our form, but maybe here. It's kind of like an awkward, out of place thing, almost, right? Possible. Let's see, someone else more.
And have for sign up different components for like select or input.
Come again?
Different component for the sign up component. So for the birthday, we can have one component for that. And
Yeah, sure. This could be some component, right? This could just be like a date, potentially. Sure. Yeah.
Logo.
The logo.
Or that Facebook logo that if you would make it clickable.
Probably just put that in there. Probably would give that its own component.
Is there like a rule for how many components you can have?
There's not a rule about how many. You should try. You want to hopefully strike some kind of balance. It should make sense. It shouldn't be too many, too little. Right? You want your components traditionally to be doing one thing.
It looks like the footer is more of a navigator bar because of the links to everything.
Yeah, but they don't nav you around the website. They take you to other sites usually.
Oh, so maybe each one is
But yeah, so these could potentially be, right, these are all very similar. These look like some kind of list. Right, this could be list items. Right, look where you just would be iterating through.
languages.
Yeah, sure, we could have a language thing that also iterates through. Right, and these components might be the same actually as these, right? Because they probably have the same functionality, just like nothing and a string and they're styled identical. Thing on a link. Right, that's pretty good. So if you were to re-attack Facebook again, even if you were just doing a plain HTML, but you broke it up in this way, it'd be a lot easier to think I'm going to have this app where I'm going to have three things: my nav bar, this thing, and that thing. These are all going to take up their specific amounts of time. And then the nav bar, I'm just going to like have these all be one thing. And this is its other thing. So they're going to like share the screen and justify content, display flex, space around, or whatever, right? And then like these is like its own form. And you can see you start breaking it down. It's not as bad. It's a lot, but it's not as necessarily overwhelming as initially. Cool? All right, so let's go back to the Todo App. Try this erase. Great. This is the dream. This is the dream. All right. I still have some more. Okay. Excellent. Projector screen would be nice, actually. Just pull it down. Or just mark up the projector screen. That's going to be harder to wipe down. All right. Let me see where I am. Okay, cool. So, back to this idea of a to-do app. I'm going to go to localhost, which has nothing because I haven't started the project yet. But let's, keeping that format of which components we want to have there, let's do it. So let's do, go to our desktop and create app, and we'll say to-do app. Okay, every time. Okay. So how are we feeling about state management and props and overall? Thumbs up, thumbs down, to the sides. Perfect. This is good. So like the majority of thumbs to the side. That's kind of like, to me, that's the sweet spot. Like I don't want anybody like, if you're totally thumbs down, like feel like I've never seen React before, we're not in a good position. If you're like, yeah, this is super easy, I know everything, you haven't gone far enough. So if you're right in the middle, it's actually we're kind of where I like you. I like you there, but so this is good. This is good coffee. So create React app is just one of those things that takes a while. So it's always frustrating if you get a good idea in the middle of the night and you just want to start coding. And you've got like this idea and it's burning, and then you're like asleep by the time it gets finished. Hang on to that idea. All right, yes. Okay, so then we can get that started, and now we can actually code today. Didn't like that because I didn't CD into it. npm start. Yeah.
What's generally like the size of these files? Like on your,
What do you mean?
like the React app?
The size of them?
Yeah. Like if you're doing a lot of them on your.
Oh, I have no idea. I've never looked at how much. You mean like how big is that folder and space memory? I've never looked. It's a good question though. Oh, let's open this up and add them. Okay, so we've seen this before, hopefully. Let's destroy everything about it. So we don't need any of this stuff in app. Not at all interested in it. I'm interested in hello. Not interested in the logo. Okay. Cool. So now we've taken the control of our app back. I also like to change the title of it. Public Do app Hexacon. All right, it's a little joke. Okay. Great. Okay, so we talked to, yes, Ben. Can I assign a class name to React Fragment? No. Why would you want to? So React Fragment is going to show up as nothing on the page. So there wouldn't be anything to style. If you want to style a whole component as if it's in a div, just put it all in a div instead of a fragment. That definitely can have a class name. That's what I used to do. All right, so we had our main app, which I think we're in that. All right, we don't have to do too much. So, but let's start with creating some kind of constructor. And super, thanks for asking. And we'll say this dot state. And what do we want in our state? What might we want? What are we going to have in our app? We know we're going to have a form. An items array? Yeah, so like to-dos. Okay, so let's say we have to-dos. Right? What else might we want? There.
To the store, whatever.
Yes, maybe something that somebody's typing in right now, right? So we can say like text input. I don't know. Anything else that we absolutely need right now? Probably not, right? Not yet. Let's break down what we had. We had I believe our next thing we had on that thing was a form, right? So let's go ahead and make that. So I'm going to say new file, and I'm going to call it. I'll call it to do form. .js. Import React from React. Is our form going to take in any? Is it going to have state? So what kind of component am I thinking about making? Functional component, yeah. So let's do that. So let's just say const do form. Export it here. This is going to take in props, I imagine. I'll write it as if it is. And for now, we'll just return. Oops. And we'll just do a form tag because we know we're going to need that. And inside, I'll just write form component. And then let's import this. We can say import to form from to do form. And let's put it in. Say to do form. And let's see if we have it. Something it doesn't like. Module not found. Well, I exported here. So that should be fine. Interesting. Where? Right here? Great, thank you. Okay, cool. So now we've got a form component. Let's just keep going as if we already had it written. Let's like get all of like the design pattern down. What else do we have? Remember? I'll give you a hint. It's like on that. It's on the GitHub from. Yeah, that was on the form. I don't want to actually fill out the form yet. I just want to fill out the like overall shape. Yeah, right. We had this to-do list. So let's go ahead and make that too. So we'll say to-do list.js, and what kind of components is this going to be? Stateless, stateful. What are we thinking? All right, I'm going to randomly call on someone. Okay, Chris again. Interesting. Why will it have state? Okay. So we always got to know the why, right? Because otherwise our words, we won't be able to, we won't know. So do we want to have state in more than one component for this app? What are you thinking? JR shaking his head. Yeah, that's a good hint. JR, how come?
Because we already have most of the data, the state stored
In our app right now?
Yeah. So, we can just make the function.
Yeah, we could make a functional component and just keep it like easy, single source of truth. So we'll say import React from React, and we can say export const to list. This is probably going to take some sort of props. And we'll return something. And this was, let's say, to list. And then let's go import that. Okay. We got our to-do list, and let's see if anything. Oh, we didn't add it in here. That was underneath our form, right? Here we go. To-do list. Okay, cool. So this is kind of starting to look like our outline on the board. Obviously, it doesn't the drawing on the board was pretty beautiful, so it doesn't look as good yet, but hopefully we'll get there. And what was in our to-do list? Did we have any more components on that page? Thank you, Renat. We had a to-do list item, right? So let's just go ahead and set the groundwork for that as well, so we don't have to do it later. I'm just going to say to-do list item. Now, once I get all this, then I can just play around with coding, right? I don't have to keep worrying about creating files, and it's already planned down, so I might as well just do it. Functional component, stateful component. What do we think? I'm gonna call on someone. I'm gonna call on Chris, probably. Oh no, this seems rigged. All right, hey, I'm just gonna hard refresh. Okay, Albert.
Oh no. Function.
Why? Why Albert?
Because you want the state. You want the state in the main component. And the list item is just one item. So we just want to call on state, which is the main.
Okay. So he says the state's going to be in the main area. Well, how will we get items in our list item?
Props.
Bingo, right? And obviously, we're just going to pass down props. Why? We don't need a whole state. Yeah, Maury.
If we have state component and we just task props to that. That should be working.
Yeah, so I'll show you. So I could technically go class to do list item, what is it, extends React.component. Yeah, this is fine, and then in my constructor, I would just go like this. It would take props. Super. But just do that. And thanks. And technically, I don't want to get too into this part because I don't want to like get anyone changing. But if I'm not keeping state in this, I can technically just not have that, and I would still have access to props because it automatically creates it for you. Technically, it doesn't make sense. Don't worry about it. We'll just keep doing it the way we've been doing it for now. But I don't want to do this personally because I don't want to give someone who looks at my code the wrong idea of what might be going on. I don't want someone to look at this and think that maybe I have state and I'm setting things up weird. So if I make it like very obvious that it's not involving state, it might be easier for the next person to code. My goal is that whenever somebody takes, like when I'm doing development and someone goes and replaces me someday, I want them to go, oh man, I don't know who worked here before me, but they really set it up nice for me. That's the dream.
Are there times when you should have like child components that have states, or is it like?
Well, so it depends. So if I was doing some huge form, I might keep track of the state in the form, and then when they submit it, send the state over to the app.
The child state to the main app.
Yeah, I might do that. So like I still keep it in the main app, but instead of constantly having all the functions in the main app, I have them all in that child where it's all being created in all their input boxes and then just send it up. I might do that. So I'm just going to go, instead I'm just going to do export. Const, do list item. It's going to take in props. Turn. Okay, getting rid of all the boilerplate. We're actually going to get to start writing code soon.
That's good.
Yeah, it is technically code.
What did you say? That's the bit, like that, like
For functional components, I do that. You could technically do this for class components. You could write export default at the top there. Some people do that. You might see that. And sometimes they don't name it. So you might see people also write, like instead of this, they would just say export default, and then wherever they import it, they name it themselves, kind of like when we did JSON. Let's see, it might not even break. Because, right, let's get rid of this. Save it, let's see if it breaks. See, no, it doesn't break. Because I'm still exporting it, and just the only place this is getting called is in our index.js, where it says like, hey, take whatever being exported from here and just call it app. Can you, yeah. It's just the boilerplate stuff. Hang on, I just want to say, but I personally don't like this very much because I like to know what class I'm in. But I mean, you could also do app here. Still nothing breaks. People do this. People do. But personally, I like it like this. Dealer's choice. Yep.
Can you go through our components right now and tell us which ones are functional and which ones not?
App is the only one with state. The rest are all functional.
It's a single source.
Great question. So for those of you who couldn't hear that, he said, what do I mean by single source of truth? Can somebody answer that? Right?
State.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Single source of truth. Can you turn me down?
I think we want all the information in the same course of work, like we want this component has an information for another component, which is different.
How come?
Is it why that has all the state component in one file?
Yeah, I'm asking why. Like, why are we doing that? And why is that advantageous? Readability? Okay, one thing, sure. Why else?
One source. All the data come from one source.
That's right. That is single source, but why? Right? It's like someone saying, "Hey, why is the sky blue?" And everyone keeps saying, "Well, the sky is blue." You know what I'm saying? Well, why? Right? Why are we wanting to do single source? Yeah. Well, give us the bad way then.
But like, if you're like having to like change, they want multiple cause confusion.
Yeah, that's a great way. Don't sell yourself short. Just say because we're going to be updating the state and all that, and if we have multiple files that are supposed to have keeping track of the exact same thing, then we have to be updating state in different files at the same time, and that could really start to complicate the app. It could lead to mistakes. There's a lot of issues. Well, if we were to all have everything in one spot and it's all getting its information from that one spot, wherever, if we change, we only need to change it, the one spot, and then everything else that's looking to it for information all stays on the same page. That makes sense? So it's like if we were all reading a book, right? And I handed a book to everybody, and it's the same book. And I said, like, all right, let's start reading. And I'm like, let's all try to read at 60 words per minute, right? But like, we might have a hard time doing that. We might still end up sometimes like on a different word and stuff. Well, if I were to just put one book here for all of us to read, and we read aloud in unison, right? It would be like very easy.
Very slow.
It would be slow, but for that, yeah, that would be slow. But not if we are reading it in unison at 60 words per minute, we're actually reading at the same pace. So we're just assuming we're going to read like this, but we might not. Cool? Does that help answer your question, Chris? Okay. So where is our to-do list item going to be visible from? Where does that go in? Bang. Yep. Nailed it. So let's put let's import to-do list item from /to-do list item, and for now I will just render that below here. To-do list item, and we're like done. We've got an app. All right. Pretty cool. I mean, it's not currently really doing anything, but we've got our components laid down in a way, right? We've got our whole app, got our form component, our to-do list, our to-do list item. Everything is organized. Okay, so let's actually start thinking about now, like, what should really happen? What component do we want to attack first? What makes sense, maybe? Form, you say? How come?
Because that's right. Task.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. So he says we could start a form because currently we have no tasks to display. So instead of like initializing with tasks to play with, this way we can just make a task. Yeah, I'm into that. So let's build our form. Go to form. We already have a form. What should go in here? I will call on someone. What do we want in the form? Mateo, lucky winner. What do we want in the form? Sure. What do we want to put in our form? We're just starting out to write the form component. What do we need? Input. Sounds good. Input. Go type. We'll probably say text, yeah? I don't know if we're going to need a checkbox for the form, because we're just going to be having them type something in. But we'll get to that. Okay, so input type, text, anything else that goes in here? Worthwhile?
Value.
Value? What should value be? Uh-oh. Okay, you want to help? You're still in this form here.
Value can be referring to
Props dot. What do we have in our state? Let's take a look. Thank you, Winter. That was really fast, Winter. Great. Yeah, we could do something like props dot text input. Anything else we might need here? Sure. Placeholder. So like enter your to do. We want to do an on change. We're thinking. We can do an on change on the form. Yeah, sure. I mean, either one. Well, let's just do it here. And I'm going to do it a little earlier up. Oh. Okay. Sorry. Let's clean this up a little bit. Okay, so on change. What do we want to happen when we call on change?
I would make a handle that so props that and change it.
Oh, okay. Props dot handle change. Okay.
So the question that I have is on chain, right? Can we actually put two functions in this?
In here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how would you write this?
Oh, on the change?
Yeah, on the chain.
I'd probably. I mean, I would definitely like. I'd look it up. It's not something I've had to do on the reg. I would probably create an anonymous arrow function and call both of them inside of that. Is that what you were going to say? Yeah. It's a pretty uncommon activity usually. Because I might as well just turn it into one function also that calls them somewhere else. Because I probably wouldn't want to create an anonymous function because then I have to remake it every time we hit a re-render. So I'd probably just extrapolate that anonymous function with a name in the previous file. For sure, that's what I would do. Okay. It took me a second to think about it. Okay, what else do we need on this? Anything else we're missing, Kelly? Yeah, okay. I like that. Let's do a button. So like button, and we can say type. What's its type? Perfect. We'll just say like add to do. I don't like the exclamation point. Okay, and what do you mean can I? Yes, we can. It's funny because I wrote that again a minute ago. Muscle memory, right? I'm not thinking about each letter I'm typing. That's weird though. Okay. And somebody else said something about a submit. Oh, well, Kelly said that. She said a button to submit. Where should we listen for this submission? Eric? On the form? Yeah, that sounds good. So I'll do on submit. Okay. Props. Handle submit. Okay, I wrote props a lot. I might go back and refactor that later, but that's fine. Let's save it. We probably might maybe able to freak out and throw an error. No. It doesn't show any changes. Yeah, but it's showing. Oh, here it is. I'm just looking at the wrong thing. Okay, so currently I can type in it. That's weird, right? Why can I type in that? Yeah, Eric? Yeah, there's nothing happening. This is saying text input though. But. All right, so anyway, we've got these things that we've created. We can see kind of a rough outline of them here. Let's actually, I don't know, let's actually start creating the things that we have to pass in. Let's start with this on change, the handle change here. So this is going to be inside of our app because we're going to be changing this, right? So we'll say handle change. This is going to take in an event. And what do we want to happen? What's going to happen in this handle change as we type? Oh, someone new. I'm going to have to call on them. All right, ready? Who's it going to be? Isa. What's going to happen? What's going to happen inside of our handle change here? What do you think we might want to add? Yeah. Can't hear you. Exactly. Yeah. Perfect. So he's saying we need a function to update our state, and we're going to use event.target.value. So let's do that. So I'm going to do this dot set state, and I'm going to go text input, right? Because I'm only have one input right now, so I'm not going to like be fancy with name and stuff. I only like to start getting fancy if we have to get fancy, kind of like. I don't want to start programming as if I have tons of things when I'm only making one thing. I'll be able to adjust, you know. So we're going to say event.target.value. And so this should be updating state. For fun, I'm just going to console log in our render what our state is, just to make sure that it's going to work. I go here and I type. It's not working. Why might it not be working yet? Yeah. All right, more. This time a little bit louder. Right, because I did absolutely nothing with the handle change. I just wrote it like yay, but we got to use it, right? And I wrote it with Isa's help. But we have so in our form, right, we got to start passing some props here. And the prop that we're expecting inside of our form is handle change. And so we call it handle change. That's pretty easy. So I'm just going to say handle change, right? This is the property that I want to pass on, and the value that I want to attach to that property is this dot. I'll put that in JSX. I'll put this dot handle change. Sure.
Because you want to use this handle change on the child component, and you want to do that, and as long as you can pass the state as the props, why you don't use that function inside that? I'm saying why you don't write handle change inside that component you want to use it.
Great question. So he says, why don't we use handle change? Why don't we write this inside of our form? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And the reason we're not writing this inside of our form this time is that this is going to constantly be updating this part of our state. So when we call set state, it's going to be referring to wherever that function was made. So our form at the moment doesn't have a state. It's just functional. So if we were to write this and we were like, hey, set state, it would say like, what do you mean? Like there isn't a state here. It probably would just create it, but we wouldn't actually be updating that in our app. But you're right in your design idea, which is like, hey, we could have created form to have a state, and then when they submit it, send that information and update our app. That could have been like totally plausible. It's not the way we decided to do it this time, and since this is how we decided to do it, with keeping just two things in a state right here, we need our function that's going to adjust the state to be in the same class. Yeah, Mateo?
Question on that. So you have state, and you don't want letter component. So you have two sources, I guess.
Okay.
How does that work? Do you have two actual states, or is it like, do you have the same property?
It's just a component state. So we're using app's component state to be the state of our whole application, but it's technically just that app's component state.
So it wouldn't be in that.
No. Eventually, we're going to learn other patterns like Redux, and we'll do it a little bit differently. We won't have to keep everything in that app. Everything will have access to things. But for now, this is how we're doing it. Okay, so we got this. What else did we promise our to-do form? Let's take a look. What else did we promise to give it? We hit this one. Oh, we got to hit this one, right? We got to go to text input. So let's add that. Text input equals. How do I get our text input? How do I pass that? What do I need to put inside of this JSX? Yeah, Maury? That's right. Right, do we understand where that's coming from? That's this. So every time we make a change in our form, we're firing a function to update this state. And what we want to be shown inside of our text input is that piece of that state. So we're passing that through, and on the other end, it will become props. The form? Yep. So it doesn't like my. Yeah, there's a backtick. There's something else? Oops.
Another backtick.
There's another backtick somewhere?
mean, the link are.
Ah, thank you. Where's the Uber people here? Okay. Right, so we are updating the state. We're seeing that reflected by milk. Cool. I enter. Oh, no, I entered and we hit this weird refresh. Why was that? What happened? What is that, Winter? That's absolutely correct, right? We didn't say prevent default. The default that we want to prevent of the form submission is a post that sends it into like some query string usually, although for React it just seems to add a question mark at the end. If you're getting a weird behavior, look at it and see if there's a question mark. You're probably not using prevent default. If you're like, oh, I did write prevent default, then you're probably not invoking it. Trust me. I spent like 3 hours tracking down a bug once because I wrote prevent default, but I had not invoked it. And I just kept reading that it was there. So it happens. Let's hopefully make it so it doesn't happen to you. So that's coming in from our to-do list form. We're looking for a handle submit function. So let's go write that inside of our app. And we're going to say handle submit. And this takes in an event. And like everybody yelled at me, let's do event.prevent. Default. Excellent. Just for fun, let's just write something in here. Oh, you know what? We haven't actually passed it, right? Let's also pass that. Handle submit. We'll say this dot handle submit. And now when I go to enter stuff, it doesn't do a weird refresh. That's great. It doesn't do anything, but it doesn't refresh, so we're on our way. So, what do we actually want to do in handle submit? What's our goal? What do we want to do here? Yeah, Thomas, new hand. Let's do it. Yeah, that sounds great. He says, should we add it into our to-dos? Absolutely, let's do that. Quick question. What do we want our to-dos to look like? That's something we got to start to think about too. Like in this array, what's in the array? Like I know it's to-dos, but what does that mean for us? Is that a string? Is that an object? A list? Like a linked list? Like, what do you mean?
Like an ordered list or unordered list, and then each.
I think you're talking about like the display.
Yeah.
So I'm talking just the data inside. So like, right, we could have an option where I have it say my milk. So it looks like something like that, and I say shop, and I have like want to reflect, right? Like, could have this as my to-do list. Do we like this? Do we not like this? Let's get some opinions. Let's talk about it. Who's got a strong opinion on this? I tell you. So, do we like setting up our individual to-dos like this? Mateo? You don't like it. How come?
I think the object will have space for that. You have other stuff.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. So Mateo's saying like if we have like an array of objects, we can have a lot more information attached to each to do. We could have an ID, we can have a subject. I don't know, maybe we could eventually have a date, maybe we could have whether or not it's done, maybe an image. It's an interesting. That's cool. Haven't seen that one. Like, there's more to it, or we could have an array of strings. What else? What do we feel? Team string? Team objects? Okay, I feel like we get the advantage, right? It would be really cool if instead of this, it looked like this, and we said like ID is 1, and we had post, or we call it to do, and we could say like on milk, completed, false, right? That would give us a lot more information. This is a lot more flexibility. So let's do that. That seems nice. That seems like the more attractive choice. So in our handle submit, we're gonna have to make this, right? So that's gonna be not too bad, but it's a thing. So let's start with like saying maybe we have a new to do, const new to do, new to do, new to do, and let's give it an ID. What do we need for an ID? What can we do? Someone new. Sorry, Mateo. Oh, question? Yeah. So I am not currently displaying this to do. The goal of what I'm hoping for us to write is so that in the end we can set our state and add this new to do to our current to do list in our array. Are you guys together? Oh, no, different.
Just a question. So you're just setting up the keys for that to do and values blank now.
Well, I'm actually going to write the values too. What can we use as an ID, like, for now? What do we... So if I use 1, what's the problem with that? What's the next ID of the next to do? Sure. Seems like we might still get a lot of repeats. So, right. It's like I'm doing like a little bit of a trick question in a sense, but I just want to make sure we think about it. So in real life, not real life, we're already in real life, but like, when we get further on, we'll just create it. We'll send an Axios request to make a new to do in our backend, and that will generate its own ID for us, right? And then we'll pull that up and update the current state.
You said that backend.
Well, yeah. Remember how our Express apps, we had all of our posts. It always created a new ID for us. We never told it what its ID is. So, but for this, let's just fake it and like do like generate an ID in JavaScript. Let's see if somebody else wrote something that's nice. A random string. Too much work. Oh no, wait, oh, that's the question. Hang on. Looks wild. Yeah, sure. I also think I have one here. Okay, I do. But we could keep Googling around until we found one that looks fun. But for now, let's use one that a previous person wrote, which is We'll just go like generate ID.
That doesn't have to be yes.
I mean, it could be. It can be. Not for this. Okay, so this should give us a random thing. We can try it also if we want in the console. Let that looks like a pretty good ID, right? Let's see, seems different every time. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. It's toString 34. No, these are letters and numbers. Yeah, but we're not just doing math random. We're also saying toString, passing in 34, and then we're saying .slice too. I don't want us to get too hot and bothered by the ID generator. All right, definitely explore that. Yeah, I believe we can Google toString and pass in like what happens with different parameters. Sure. The explanation is that we are creating this random ID. So using math.random gives us line between 0 and 1. Then we're calling toString on that and saying 34. I'm not really sure what that is doing either. I'm not too worried. And then we're slicing it from the second one all the way to the end. Right, the real mystery is what's going on in toString 34. I have a feeling we're like turning it into a base or something. Because I think if you do toString, like you can turn things into binary and stuff. Anyway, this is what my guess would be. I would just look it up. I'm not like, it's not React, right? This is just like a little JavaScript thing. Our database is going to worry about this someday later anyway, which we've not too far in the future, really, right? So let's call that whenever we want to make a new ID. Let's set that up, and we'll say this dot generate ID. Perfect. What else do we want to have? The actual to-do, maybe? Or body? I'll call it body. And we're going to get that from this dot state dot text input. What else? Do we need anything else? Put a check mark? Yeah, so check mark sounds like a visual thing. What might that be in like trying to figure out the data to pass? Okay, yeah, I heard like a weird Boolean murmur, which I agree with, right? We could say something like if it's completed or not. And this would, probably we should start with it being false because they just wrote it. All right, so now we've got this new to-do. And so let's actually add it to our state. So I'll say this dot set state takes in an object, and I'll say our to-dos points to how do I want to do this? How can I do this? What do we think? What goes in here? Eric, you want to take a stab? Sorry? Okay, sure. So if I put new to do, what's going to happen? Johnny, what happens if I do it like this?
Put that object
Yeah, to-dos will become a single to-do that we just created. We don't want that. What's our other options? Sorry? Yeah, JR?
Probably push them.
Push them. Push them where? How? Tell me about that.
So here it is. We're trying to put some object inside of the
Inside of the to-dos.
right?
Yep.
So it's similar to what we did.
Yep, definitely.
We set them in like different variables and push like get all the data that's inside the spread and then push the data.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to do it slightly different, but yeah, the core idea is right. We're going to use the spread operator, so we can say dot 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 this dot state dot to dos, and then we can also now add our new to do. This is making a copy of our current array.
So it's making a copy of the blank array and
Well, it might not always be blank, but yeah. But it's like splitting them up.
okay. So there's the elements adding the to
Yeah, they split them up, but they're being already in an array, so it's okay. So that's like a copy of it. Now I'm just adding our new to do be part of that group.
oh, it's just like concatenating.
Yeah, you could think about it like that, sure. Or, well, because this is an array of objects, I'm adding one object. So I don't want to do that. That's a good question, though. Sorry? He said, how come I'm not doing dot 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 new to do? And I said, this is just one individual object that I want added to the array. Okay, so I'm going to guess that this works. Sure. So let's save it. And great. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to type, hit enter, and we can see that I have inside of our to-dos now this one object with that type. So it's kind of annoying, right? I hit enter and it's still in there. Yep.
I'm gonna ask a question that really isn't what you're, so I intend, right? How come when you're typing in that box, it's showing up down here?
I'm console logging state and app. Just have a console log right here. So every time I change the state, it hits render and it's console logging our current state. Okay, so do we see what's kind of annoying here? Right, I just typed in a to-do and I entered it, and yes, it got added in a state. Should work on my spelling. I'm trying to write kaleidoscope, but it's still there. So if I'm like, all right, now I want to buy milk, I have to go like this, and then do buy milk. You know, and I can enter that, and you know that's all good too. I now have that also on my list of to-dos, but no, it's still there. So I want to add a third one. So what can I do? What can I do to get rid of this annoying behavior? Someone, let's. I'm gonna call. Okay, hang on. Let me just pretend. Renat. Okay. Excellent. What should we do? Yeah, exactly. And how do you want to clear that? Totally. So we're not saying, let's add another thing to change here. And this is getting a little messy, so I'll take that down a notch. And I'll say text input, and we'll just set it back to clear. Let's try that. Good idea or not? And we say, like, take cab. That's one of my goals today. And it cleared, and we still got it in the list. So, excellent. Mateo.
And that's because it's in the right order, it doesn't.
Well, it just, I mean, it does them all at the same time, but we still have this. I could switch it to be okay.
So you could get text to the first.
Well, we've already got all of the information we need earlier when we created our new to-do. I don't know how important, I mean, this has to go before this because we're using it. We've declared a variable. Okay. Yeah.
I think you said line 29 again.
This is, yeah, this is a, we want to keep this to be our array that it's been. We're using the spread operator to look at what's currently there and separating them out so we can like essentially duplicate it. We don't want to mutate our current state. And then we're just adding our new to do in at the end there. And so it will all just turn into that being the next new array. Some of us might need to go back and review the spread operator. I still see a lot of confusion. I think if you go back to that lesson with what we know now, we'll probably have a lot easier time understanding it.
The other method that you can use the spread operator instead of.
There's a lot. Spread, you can use the spread operator for like 5 different things, and it is linked in the resources of that lesson. Highly recommend checking it out. I do want to put most of the emphasis on like React and just to the idea we don't want to mutate our state, so we are just duplicating it. I can do this outside. I'm doing it inside because we've done it outside yesterday. So today I'm doing it inside. It's still the exact same concept. I'm just showing another form of implementation. But conceptually, it's identical. Yep.
So when you set state to text input in the second part after you.
Well, these are like happening, I think simultaneously. They're just like both doing their own thing.
So if we have new to do, we're going to take it and put it into use. But if we don't, then how it's clear?
From this line.
I know. I want to know how it's working.
Got it.
All of them all.
So, yeah, so our form in our input is getting its value from props, the text input, which is in our state, that we're passing it in from here. So we're saying our text input is this, that state, that text input. As we type in, we hit handle change, which is constantly setting our state and updating our text input. When we hit submit, we are taking that current input and adding that as the body in our new to-do. And then we're adding that into our list of to-dos as well as clearing the text input. So when that set state happens and then calls render, we pass in, again, this .state.text input, which is now currently empty. And so in our to-do form, its value is again empty. No problem. Good question. I like doing the flow of the app. Super important that we can follow the flow. Okay, so what's next, right? Now we've got a form that's working, we've got submission, and now we finally have a way of adding to-dos as like a list in an array, right? So what should we probably work on next? Michelle? Yeah, let's work on displaying the array. That's a great idea. So we can what do we want to pass to our to-do list? No problem. I said, what do we want to pass to our to-do list? Thomas. Okay, so if we pass our text input, we would just get everything that we're writing here while we're writing it. So we'll say like, hello, and then it will become clear, and then we would do that. So let's conceptually really think like we have that to-do list item inside of a to-do list. So if we know that that's going to end up there, yeah, Eric? Yeah, let's pass in our to-dos, exactly. So if I say to-dos, and I'm going to say this.state.to-do, whoops, and we called it to-dos, okay? Now, inside of our to-do list, let's just log, let's just put a debugger, right? So we've hit this debugger, and we see that our props has to-dos now and an empty array. This is accurate. Continue. Let's see if it's going to re-render. Okay, so it's going to re-render every time. See if I can temporarily turn that off. Query. Act. And now when I go to add our to-do, and we hit our re-render, right now we have more. So now if I go to props.todos, we have this array. Can I make that bigger? Yeah. And you can see, oh, okay, I don't know, I'm going to do me. Okay, and so, but we're getting stuff in there, right? So if I write another thing, we would be able to see another thing. So let's take out the debugger. And instead, what do we want to do with this list? What can we do with this list? Trey.
They have a display list item function.
A display list item function.
And map over array.
Yeah, so I'm going to hang on to that second half. So he says, and it's going to map over our array, and it's going to set things up for a to-do list item, right? We could extrapolate it into a function. That'd be fine. I'm not going to because it's just not much to do. So I'm just going to do it here, where I'm going to say like let, and I'll say I'm going to call it to-dos, and I'll just say equals props dot to-dos dot map. Each one of this is a to-do item, right? And from here, I'm going to return a to-do to-do list item. And should I pass anything in here? What do I want to pass? Yeah, I definitely could pass the values. What else could I pass? Like, I could pass the individual values. What else might I want to pass? There. Just pass everything, eh? Yeah, let's pass everything. So I'm just going to write 2, and I'm going to pass in the to-do item. And then instead of having this here, I'm going to just move our variable that we created and put it here. So I'm going to get rid of our junk from here. And I'm just going to write to-dos. Now it's gone. I write buy milk. And now we see it says to-do list item.
How come that doesn't break? Nothing over time.
Where do you see nothing in where?
Well, when you first have an empty array, you just print it twice.
Oh, yeah, it just maps over empty. Yeah, there's just nothing, like nothing to go through. That's a good question. Okay, so how come when I did that, it said it gave us back just one thing that said to-do list item? How come it didn't say buy milk or whatever I had put in there? Perfect. Thank you. The band says, well, you haven't done anything with to-do list item. And I save. And so I'm going to put a debugger here and see what we really have available to us right now. I'm going to say milk. I'm going to add it. We hit this, and now I can look, and I'm going to go props. And we've got to do. And okay, we have all of this stuff. We've got this body and this completed. For now, we probably just want to show the body, right? Is that fair? Okay. And what? And if it's completed, yeah, well, let's work on that eventually. So we're just going to say this props dot to do dot body. Ugh. But, you know, it's a thing. Yeah.
We're not doing this because we're not on the page of the state, right? We have to do props because we're passing the state.
Yeah, it's using the props that are being passed to it. All right. So let's try again. We say my milk. Take cab. Interesting. Okay. Take cab. So I mean, it's working, right? Pretty cool. What do we think about this?
Should we put it in the URL?
Sure. Let's do that. So in our to-do list, Max is saying, let's make this a UL. And then it won't look quite as grubby, yeah? cheese. Get crackers. Yeah, I'm still doing it. Yeah, I don't want to do any kind of like design, like spacing in my HTML if I can avoid it. I could put an LI here. I could also put an LI here. Right, that's also fair game. That is where I will put it because I might eventually have more things going on. So I'm going to say go to party, get invited to party. Right, so that's starting to look a lot more attractive. We've got some weird styling because we haven't done a reset or anything. Just so that it would be a list officially. So when I go here and I look at our elements and I say, okay, what are these things? Like, I get that these are LIs and a UL. Keeps it easy for me. What else? Is there anything else that we are missing? Well, we got that. We do have that annoying warning, I think, right? Somewhere. Ugh. I don't like that. How do we get rid of that? Add a key? Yeah. Where do you want to add a key, Janelle?
Right after the to-do item or right before?
Right here?
Yeah. Probably is,
Do item.id. Maybe. Let's see. Let me also get rid of this console log because it's starting to get to be too much. Not quite. What else? Where else could it be? It's going to be in this page. Jackie. LI? Let's try that. That works. Funny.
Why is the different location be the error go away? It's still inside. It has to be the account div that has a unique key.
This is wherever it's mapping the outside component for that. Like right. So I could have not done the LIs, right? I mean, we had this idea earlier. Could not do LIs here if I didn't want to. Instead, in my to-do list item, instead of having this, I could do my LIs here. Right, this is also something I could have done. And we still won't have that problem now. Names, thanks. Right, it's all good. Nice. But just however you choose to design it. I probably like this way more, actually. So we need the key for whichever is going to be the outside container in that map. All right, so I've been yakking at you for a little bit. Let's take a 5-minute break. Well, I mean, we don't have to. Do you believe in that?
And then he's like, exactly. Yes.